Welcome to this month's Member to Member Connection. I'm ASHRAE President Mick Schwedler, and today our topic is going to be how do you get involved in ASHRAE? We have three panelists today. The first is Blake Ellis. He's with Burns & McDonnell, and he's an on-site energy and power director. Next, we have Bruno Martinez. He's a technical director with Petinelli in Curitiba, Brazil. And Bill Klock is a vice president with EEA Consulting Engineers. Guys, thanks for joining us today. So our first question is, and Bruno, let's start with you. Please share the first time you tried to get involved in an ASHRAE meeting, and how did it go?
Sure, Mickey. Thank you for the invitation. This is a pleasure to be here with you guys. My company, we were doing energy modeling, and we are looking for professional certifications, and we find that the best professional certification for energy modeling is the Building Energy Modeling Professional for ASHRAE. So, and then I did the certification. We didn't have the test in Brazil yet at that time. I went to US to do the test. And then years later, a guy called Fabiano asked me to do a presentation for a group of EA in Brazil about professional certifications. And I did the presentation and told Fabiano, I would like to get more involved in ASHRAE. I would like to be participating more. And he said, sure, you can participate in our group, the EA group. This year, I enter as co-chair in the EA group, next year as the EA chair, and then chapter president, and then
wow.
go on.
So your involvement didn't start at an ASHRAE meeting. Your involvement started because you and your company wanted to do the certifications. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty neat. Bill, we're going to come to you next. You're kind of a vintage guy like me. It may have been a while ago, but can you remember the first involvement with ASHRAE, and how did it go for you?
It's pretty convoluted because my first involvement in ASHRAE was that a professor my senior year decided that fundamentals was going to be our textbook. So I joined as a student member, let's see, in 1982. Okay. And then my first job out of school, the inaugural chapter president for the East Central Illinois chapter was my boss. So I was fairly motivated to go to chapter meetings. And then real involvement was, I don't know what, 15 years later, thereabouts, when my boss at the time walked down the hallway and said, Bill, how would you like to be the chapter secretary? Go,
I love to, boss. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's one of these things. Your boss asks you to do something. That seems like a good idea.
Today, I think they use the term voluntold. How about you, Blake?
I think about being involved in the chapter meeting, and it's been a while, or being involved in the chapter, and it was a while ago when that happened. But at a society meeting, I remember first going to a first technical committee meeting, and I'd already been my chapter president, so I was pretty well understood how ASHRAE worked. But going to that technical committee meeting, I know first I was a little scared that I didn't have the technical capabilities to be in there. But I still went anyways, and they ended up needing someone to be a programs chair for the technical committee. And I just said, yeah, I could probably do that. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I did get, they had a need. It actually fit me well, being able to do programs. And I had the individual that was doing that job previously did spend the next 6 months or so kind of helping me transition. So it went pretty well, but I just raised my hand and said I'd do it in a meeting. And then that's where that started as far as technical committee involvement on my side.
So Blake, how did you select the technical committee meeting that you went to?
That's a good question. So one, I asked someone that had been going to some society meetings, what technical committees do they go to? Which ones are they interested in? This one specifically, it was district energy, which is the field that I'm pretty involved in. So that one was pretty much an automatic one for me to be able to go to, which is why I thought of all of the three ones that I was going to at that meeting, that one made the most sense to start gradually getting involved in that one because I had the most confidence in my ability to, understand it technically.
Sure, that makes sense. Bill, we're going to come with the next question to you. Now that you've been involved, what would you do for someone who you haven't met before to help them be comfortable and get involved? Say they come into the room. What do you do when you see somebody you don't recognize?
Truthfully, not near as much as I ought to.
I think we all would answer that way.
Yeah, and for the most part, at least try to make an effort that they have heard from somebody. At least say hello. With a group of engineers, we're mostly introverts, so it's a little bit problematic. But I would at least like to pretend like I make an effort to make sure that they at least have talked to somebody while they were in the room.
Sure. So I'm going to toss this one over to to me, he seems like an extrovert. That would be you, Bruno. I've seen you in Yay meetings. I don't know if you've always been that way, but what do you do when you see someone new coming to a meeting?
Yeah, I think one really nice thing that ASHRAE does every time, every meeting asks for introduction. So every person that is in a meeting has the opportunity at least to introduce themselves. So this is really nice. And the other thing is, I think ask them questions and probably in the future give them some responsibilities. Will help them to be more involved in the meetings, and I think this is the right way to do it.
Sure. And that kind of finds out what they're interested in, and then you might know how to help them get involved or know somebody else. So Blake, let's take that to another one. Sometimes I hear you talking about knowing other people in the industry, and that helps your firm. Can you share a time with us that you met somebody at an ASHRAE meeting or knew somebody at an ASHRAE meeting who helped your company from that standpoint?
I don't want to give any, there's a number of specific examples probably out there, but just the sheer breadth of people that you get to know, especially when you're both engaged locally and engaged at the society level, I think are really helpful. And can be helpful with usually in the old days, it'd be a phone call. In the new days, it's sending an email or a text, but you're only, in the, a few degrees away from, the expert in the industry, and you don't know what the problem is that might occur. Maybe there's an industrial ventilation problem that our client is going to have and need to have something solved. Well, I can reach out to that individual and get a response pretty quickly. I know others in my company have utilized just their technical committees and sending pretty simple questions about piping systems or what's people's experience been with this, and getting a plethora of answers back in a very rapid period of time to be able to respond quickly to whatever the need might be.
Thanks. Now, Bill Klock, often you talk about the value to you and your company about being able to reach out to an expert. Can you share that with our audience?
I think it goes to Blake's just a few degrees of separation. I think my comment has been that I am 2 phone calls away. I may not know who the expert is, but I know who knows who the expert is, and it's there have been people on this call that have been receipt of my phone call to get to the next person.
And I think what Bill's referring to, he's called me and I've said, oh, I don't know anything about that, but I think I know who the person is. Yeah. And a great part about it, it's often can be the global expert. It's not North American, but the person really around the world.
And I can find pretty easily 20 or 30 examples, over the last 10 years where I have used that.
Okay, Bruno, we're going to bring the next question to you. I know that my first ASHRAE meetings that I went to were not high successes. I didn't feel that I was allowed to get involved, things like that. And sometimes I've been at yay meetings and at the yay committee where there have been discussions, how do we get yay members involved? What would you say to somebody who's gone to a meeting or two and really doesn't feel valued or networked in yet?
Yeah, this is a very hard question because the thing is, if you are interested in ASHRAE and how can you get more involved, I think we will always have someone that will help you. For me, it happens that way, you know, like I would like to get more involved in the region level. I had Dan Rogers, Robin. I participate in the leaders program. So if you are willing to get more involved, for sure you're going to find someone that can help you to get more involved. I would say just have a little bit of patience because probably you didn't find yet someone that can help you, and I would love to help you to achieve what you want inside ASHRAE.
Sure, thanks. Blake, did you ever have an experience where you didn't feel like they accepted you? And what would you say to a member who's had a similar experience?
You know, I guess there's been times when you go into a meeting and or a room and you don't really know everyone or, you know, what the situation is, you're uncomfortable. I guess but that, like anything in life, practice, things become more comfortable, you become better at it. So I would say going to a meeting and just you continue to do it, you'll become more comfortable. But I also think, you know, that we're just a volunteer organization that's run by a bunch of volunteers, and there's a lot of things that need to get accomplished, and there's usually some little thing to do. And one way to just kind of break that barrier, I think, is to just raise your hand. Like, I mean, I did it for a programs chair of a technical committee, but you know, for maybe it's just being on a subcommittee or some small group and getting to know others. I think that's one way to kind of break through that barrier, is just literally raise your hand and ask for to get involved in some way, shape, or form.
Sure, thanks for sharing. And I can share the TC that I really got hooked on 1.5 computer applications. They put together a document that said, here's how to get involved. And it kind of starts with, if the chair of the meeting doesn't come to talk to you, go talk to her or him to make sure that you can start to get that connection. Okay, okay, this is I like this one. Bill, let's start with you. Do you worry about people getting a broader network and then leaving your firm if they get too involved in ASHRAE? Absolutely
not. If you have not created an atmosphere where people want to stay, that's kind of on you. We have encouraged involvement. I would continue to encourage involvement for anybody, because all you're going to do is get better with what you are working on. We've talked about having all the people throughout the world that are experts at our fingertips. How is that possibly a bad thing?
Okay. So Bruno, sometimes we refer to this in the United States as employees getting poached. Does poaching happen in Brazil?
Yeah, sometimes happen, but I agree with Bill. Like you don't have to fear that your employees getting more skills or getting more involved in any association. You have to create the right environment and let them grow, and it's worse to have someone that doesn't grow in your company, that if you provide the circumstances for someone grow, I think you have to do it. and that this is healthier for your company. And ASHRAE is a great channel for do that. Great opportunity to do that.
Thanks, Bruno.
And
Hey,
I
Blake,
would
go
think,
ahead.
I mean, your top employees are going to leave if you don't give them access to organizations like ASHRAE. So, I mean, it's actually the opposite effect is going to happen if you hold people back, in my opinion.
Okay, this is a loaded question, and I don't know the answers to this. Bruno, how long have you been at your company?
I've been in my company for 10 years.
10 years, and how long have you been in the industry?
Oh, the same 10 years.
Oh, okay. Bill, how long at your company?
28-ish.
28-ish, and you've gotten pretty involved, but you haven't left. Okay. Blake?
18 years and about 30 in the industry.
Wow. Okay. And I've been with our company for about 40 years. And I think part of the reason is the loyalty shown by the company to let me grow. And I think that's what we've all experienced. When you grow, you bring things back, and things get better. So we're going to close here with the last question. Okay. What would you share with a person attending either a chapter meeting or a society meeting for the first time? Bill, how about you go first? Or we could let Blake go first while you think about it. How's that sound? Go ahead, Blake.
First time attendee to a ASHRAE meeting, I would say it's a great organization that has allowed me to grow in such a safe environment. No other opportunity do I have in my industry do I have to be able to learn new things and learn new skills, how to run meetings, how to get things completed in a large organization where people actually aren't even getting paid to get things accomplished, how to do presentations, how to speak and talk on my feet, all things in a safe environment that I'm not going to lose a new project or something that we're going after. It's just an ASHRAE meeting. So it's a great opportunity for me to do that, but also a great opportunity to grow the people that you know in this industry, and then long term you develop just friendships with these individuals. And that's one of the great things that I'm looking forward to when we go back in person, is just getting to see people in person again, and not just on this type of platform.
Great, thanks, Blake. Bruno, what thoughts would you have?
I would say that ASHRAE is a big family, and then when you start getting more and more involved, you're gonna love it. So it's a great, as Blake said, it's a great opportunity to improve your soft skills, to be known in the market, especially for a young engineer. And I would invite for the next happy hour to have a drink with them and chat.
I like that. And one of the things when I talk with leadership at our company, I asked them, are there other places in our company where we can have a 32-year-old lead an international committee made up of global members and get that experience? They go, well, no, how do you get that? And ASHRAE has allowed you to do that. Bill Klock, let's come back to you for the final word.
I think Blake and Bruno kind of touched on it. There's opportunities to get involved at any level. You can go and just listen. You can go and actively participate. And clearly, Blake and I and Bruno and you have chosen to actively participate, and it's been really good for us. But I see people at society meetings, that have been coming for the same 20 or 25 years that are really only coming to attend. It works at any level. I mean, don't be afraid of it.
Thanks. And what I always share with people is, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time, you always get more out than you've put in. Always more comes back. Go ahead, Bill.
You hear that from the presidential members, and you look at what they have done, and you kind of, are they nuts? But there's no doubt at the level that I've participated, I've gotten a whole lot more out of it than I put into it.
Now, Bruno, any last words you'd like to share?
Oh, I just want to thank you, and thank you, ASHRAE, for all the opportunities that I have. It's great for me, a Brazilian engineer, to be here with you guys and have this conversation. It's amazing. And I absolutely want to get more involved and grow inside the society and help new members to follow the path, because ASHRAE is great, it's amazing. I love to be here. And thank you very much, guys.
You bet. Blake, any final words you'd like to share?
Yeah, just same as Bruno. Thanks for doing this, and it's been fun, and I could just talk about this organization for hours and hours on end, but we need to limit the time here.
Well, thanks to everyone for helping our members hear our perspectives on how to get involved, different reasons for getting involved, and we hope we'll see our viewership back for next month's Member to Member Connection. Thanks everyone for joining.